Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Cliff from the II crew, Speaks Out, coming right at you from a very wet, dull, miserable, dark, dank West Midlands. But hey, we won't let that get us down. Twice in a day, people. You lucky people. This afternoon, I went out for my run, my afternoon run. I like to go for an afternoon run after I've had my lunch. Not directly after, but about 2:30. I had my lunch about 1 o'clock. And then I like to go out running. Not every day, but I do like to get runs in. I do work from home, and so it just gives me time to think. Time to get my creativity, my creative juices going and released. So, this ongoing saga and debate of running, relating to what I know a little bit about, the sport of boxing. Do an internet search, put into the internet bar, search bar, should a boxer run? And you see the controversy this subject will bring you. It is absolutely unbelievable. I really do not understand. I remember as a kid when I had my first amateur bout, and I just recently got my medical card, because today we was talking about boxing and a tough sport, but also a safe sport. And I had my medical, and I was a raw novice. You have to break the ice somewhere. And literally within a month I had my first bout. And I didn't really understand boxing at all. I mean, I was only a kid of about, I think it was about 10 or 11. No, I was 11 because I'd just started secondary school. It's the time when they had the first year, but I was young for in the year. My birthday falls in July, so I sort of came in with the last quarter of the youngsters. So I just turned 11, and I didn't understand much about boxing. I'd been taught the basics: keep your guard up, keep your chin down, jab, stick the jab out, that type of stuff. Don't cross your legs, etc., etc. Protect yourself at all times, all that type of stuff. But I hadn't bargained just how tough boxing is. Even 3 1.5 minute rounds. So, being immature, being inexperienced, being a kid, I just went out like I was having a school playground punch-up. And I sold myself out in the first round. I could not hardly stand up for the second round. And I got a flipping good hiding, I can tell you. Almost got stopped, but I just would not have that. Some pride in me, I just could not I got beaten a lot during my boxing career, I can tell you. But I never got stopped. I never got stopped. I just did not want that on my record. I could not have that RSC, ref stop contest 1, 2 or 3. I just could not have that. And I sat down on this stool for the sound of the first end of the first round. And I don't swear, I don't use swear words, but it was something in the terminology of my corner man, my trainer, looked me straight in the eyes and he said, "It's freaking hard, isn't it?" As my nose was bleeding all down my yellow singlet. Our colours were green and yellow with a yellow singlet. Yeah, yeah. From that moment on, the point I'm trying to make is I didn't have another bout for at least 2 months after that. And I knew I had one coming up. I was getting trained up for it. And I decided to put the road work in earnest. And started off slow. Kid, got bags of energy, but you know, it took me about a couple of weeks to end up running every day, and I ended up running at least 5 miles every day. And I was doing wind sprints eventually in the end, in between lampposts during that 5 miler. And my second fight I had, this time, the boy was tough, but this time I sat down on my stool in the first round and I got up the second round and I had the legs, I had the stamina there, I had the strength there. So, cut a long story short, should a boxer run? Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt, a boxer should run, yes. Dependent on the program of the boxer, where the boxer is at, because the most important thing for a boxer is to spar, training wise. Don't forget about the weights, but the weights are secondary to sparring. Running is secondary to sparring. Skipping is secondary to sparring. Bag work is secondary to sparring. Circuits are secondary to sparring. The most important thing for a boxer is sparring. But you've got to run. And you've got to put the miles in. Why do you think Rocky Marciano, Jack Dempsey, all the boxers of old, professional boxers, and some of them stand there toe to toe for 15 rounds. 15 rounds, not 12, 15. Slugging it out. I can tell you, if you have not done your road work, if you have not done your running, that's it, forget it. Because if you've got the man that has, and the 14th round sounds, you sat down, you get up for the 15th round and you haven't done your road work, say goodnight. It's the same with 12 rounds. If you've had 11 hard rounds, and you sit down and the 12th and final round, the bell rings for the 12th and final round, and you get up off your stool and you haven't done your running, say goodnight, Vienna, you're going to be laid out against a man that has, that's strong. So how do we run then? You're not a boxer. Look, I'm not a boxer, I just want to get fit. So how do you run if you've never run before? I'm directing this at people that are over 40 years of age. People that are listening into this, fine, but if you're over 40 years of age and you've never done exercise regularly before and you start to embark on a running regime, you want to start off very slow. And I mean slow pace, but slow. Rome wasn't built in a day. Don't think that you're going to get 5 miles in 6 weeks. It ain't going to happen. It won't happen. What will happen after 6 weeks is your mind and your body and your mind will come into acceptance of what you're trying to do. If that makes any sense, that's how people can do the marathons, because their mind has come into acceptance with their body, what their body is doing. But you want to find a park, a recreational ground, somewhere that's flat, somewhere that's got grass surface on it, and just jog round the park. If it's a little bit of a way away, take the car down there. Why I say a park is because a lot of these parks will have football pitches, and you can very accurately gauge the distance that you're doing. So, provided you've got a clean bill of health from your doctors, I suggest if you are over 40, you do go and see your doctor. Start your running slowly on the grass surface. And I would say, just be satisfied with a mile. If you need to walk, walk. But try your best not to stop. That's your goal, initial goal. To complete a mile without stopping. You can walk, yes. Go at a slow pace, yes. Okay? Then, when you can do a mile, I want you to increase it to your second mile. Again, if you want to walk and jog, walk and jog it. Not a problem. When you can do that, I want you to look at what your time is, how long it's taking you to do that 2 miles. And then as each week goes on, don't rush it, just try and chamfer it down a little bit each time you run. You want to get it so that you've got a decent pace up. It's not for me to tell you what your pace per mile should be. An exceptionally good pace is 6 minutes per mile. When you've got that sussed, then you can start to increase the distance by a mile each week. So it could take you 3 months to get to that level where you're doing 5 miles. Just be patient. It might take you a little bit longer, it might take you a little bit less. Just be patient with it. When you start, and you'll know when you feel that you've broken your body in to running, then you can get out on the road proper. Invest in a good pair of running shoes and work out a pleasant route for you that you will enjoy running. Doesn't matter what time of day you decide to go for your run. Early morning, in the evening, it doesn't matter. You want to do your running at least 4 times a week. And when you start to really get into it, 5 times a week. When you've really got to grips with running and you're doing your 5 miles and you're doing it 5 times a week, now's the time to start introducing a bit of variety. You can start to do shorter runs and longer runs, which I think is a very good idea. So you'd have 3 runs that are 5 miles, right? And then you'd have a shorter run of say 2 miles, but it would be interval training, and you'd do lateral shuttle steps, you know, where you sort of, I don't know, it's hard to describe, where you just sort of like skip along, you shuttle along laterally, yeah, things like that. Make sure you don't do it in the dark and go smacking into a lamppost or something, because that hurts, because I've done it. Or run backwards. Don't run backwards on the pavement, because you might run out into a car that's turning a corner. Do all that type of stuff over the park, yeah, preferably in the light. But you get what I mean? You just sort of just mix it up a bit. So you're doing a variety of tempos, jogging and sprinting, and a variety of distances. See where you go with that. Alright? So have a great time running. This is Cliff from II Crew Speaks Out. I'm out of here. Ciao.